Okay, you know what? Season 2 of the D&D show. You know what? We have missed
took one
a
long
lot of
break.
events. Listen, we've
yes,
missed so many events. Trump almost got assassinated. All of
my
Mr.
God, I
Beast's
forgot.
employees are apparently and now the UK's on fire.
Jesus, man, you're right. Damn, we missed
Right?
things.
Think about it. Yo, we had a lot of juice to squeeze, but we just weren't here for
Too
reasons.
much to do, man. Too much to do. You
Too
were
much to do,
busy,
yeah.
I was busy. Jeez.
Yeah, new place. So this is gonna be a pilot episode, if you will, of the new season. Okay, so the current situation in the UK right now is basically there were some rumors that an immigrant, right? Like there was rumors that an immigrant was responsible for the slaying of 3 girls, essentially, and they were young girls as well, which was a problem. And because it circulated on X that this refugee was an illegal one, people lost their shit, and specifically the native British, let's call them that, the native British specifically. They were trying to light on fire on the hotel, which I thought was pretty mad. And yeah, that's pretty much what the situation that we're in. Essentially,
Daniel,
people have lost their shit.
Pause 1 second. I'm gonna have to redo it. Sorry, you're gonna have to like crop out the second bit and restart from here. Okay.
You have no f***ing clue how annoying that shit is. Anyways, so
yeah.
okay. So
lots of
continuing
things
back.
happened. You were
Yep.
explaining about what was the current situation in the UK. So they said that it was an illegal immigrant, but it wasn't actually. It was someone who was born here.
Yes, still a
to
refugee.
legal
I feel like
immigrants.
that's an important word to be
Oh, yeah.
mentioned. They're
Yeah,
still a
true,
refugee,
true.
but it wasn't an illegal immigrant. It was just, you know, say for example, someone born in Cardiff. Ironically, it was actually in Cardiff. I didn't know this until recently. Yeah. And like I'm in a tough situation because I think the current hatred that the Islamic community is receiving from just Brits across the UK, I'm not sure if it's well found. And
Honestly,
I think
it isn't.
people have been misled.
People have been misled. I think it very much could be the same situation as what happened with Brexit. Like, to quote Elon Musk, a mind virus spreading, only that Elon Musk is arguing the other way around. He's saying that, well, Brits are finally awaking. Which, why does Elon Musk even, like, when did he begin to put himself in UK
Yeah, I have no
politics?
idea. The guy was supposed to conquer Mars. Like, go
Exactly,
build
like,
a rocket ship to Mars. Come on, shoot.
Mind
This is not your business.
With all due respect, exactly. Like, you live in the US, mind the US, which is already a hot mess as it is. No disrespect for anybody watching from the United States, but every country has its own problems. And everyone should first of all solve their own issues and then mind others if they have the resources to do so. Which honestly in most cases that's not really quite the case. However, first and foremost, all I wanted to say is, aside leaving Elon Musk aside, I can kind of understand some of the points that were brought up. However, violence is never the way to solve a problem.
And okay, I think that's mad, and I have to really emphasize on this. What is lighting a hotel on fire going to do?
Exactly.
Like, do the British people really think that they're gonna gain something by lighting on fire? No, they're actually gonna fuel a counter protest, which is actually what's happening. So actually, yeah, literally I just realized I doxed myself. Ah, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, be careful.
Okay, in Cardiff, there was supposed to be far-right protests against illegal immigrants. But what ended up happening is, first off, far-right people never turned up, and counter-protesters actually came there. So, in all this scenario, they've actually lost because they fueled the opposing side. So they've kind of lost. And actually, I will say one more thing. I think the British people that specifically lashed out on Muslims, I think they must not have Muslim friends or Islamic friends. Because if they did, they would understand that it isn't Islam that's the root of the problem, but rather thugs.
Man, you
That's
know
it, it's just
what
thugs.
the yeah, but like, do you know what the main problem is?
Go
It's
on.
that I know so many people who do have friends who are uh, black, Muslims, Jewish, whichever group you
The
want
whole
to
nine
talk about.
yards.
Exactly. And even though they have friends, they will still find reasons to hate. Because it
Right.
kind of is human nature, in a way.
Right.
So it's something that we must be really, really careful about. It is not a sin for no reason, hatred. Well,
Yep.
rage. But what I want to say is that one argument that I saw very often online was, it's the what's that expression? It's the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
It's that this in itself is not the end of the world for the UK, but so many things happened that it reached this point. Which, what I would argue instead is, it's easy to be a good person when everything is going well, but ever since, so many things happened. COVID, economic collapse,
Yeah.
well, not necessarily collapse, but like things are not going as well as they used to be.
Yep.
The cost of living rising, skyrocketing, I'd argue, and seeing the politicians
People have
doing
no chance.
absolutely
People have no
nothing.
chance to get onto the property market.
Yes.
Like young
Pause,
people are
pause
pretty much
one moment,
giving
pause
up.
one moment,
People,
I'm being
young
called.
people are giving up on trying to work hard. And I see the, I see the older generation saying that, generation like ours are lazy and we don't want to work. In your times, in the olden people's times, they could, if with £1,000 monthly, they could easily save up for a house and live comfortably. With £1,000 in our times, you're dying.
back.
That's it. Ayo?
Yeah, I'm back now. Would you mind doing a little resume?
I'm gonna lose my shit really quickly. Anyways, what I was saying is that young people are now struggling to get on the housing market, and it's specifically because essentially all these situations have mounted up. We are paying a lot of, like, the UK is paying a lot of money to these different like charity sources. So say for example, the war in Ukraine required a lot of taxpayers' money, and
Yes.
what I can see is that even the these asylum seekers / illegal immigrants, they need to be housed, and how are they going to house? On the taxpayers' money. So all of this is causing inflation, therefore leading the young people to be essentially underpaid for what the housing market desires. I remember in Cardiff where I said, I doxed myself. At this point, it is what it is. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna say, like, people don't know my address, they just know I live in Cardiff. Ayo.
And Cardiff
so
is a
what?
big place, so yeah.
And Cardiff is a big place, so whoop-de-doo.
Exactly.
In Cardiff where I live, it used to be very common for you to be able to find a single bedroom apartment for 600 a month, maybe less.
Fair. Yeah.
Now, you're not finding anything decent under 850. Nothing. Nothing. Okay? And
Yeah.
and that's just rentals. I'm not even talking about, buying an actual property, because that's a whole different thing. Now, admittedly, Cardiff is actually a bit better than most people in most locations in the
Most
UK.
places, yes.
But that's besides the point. The point being is
Yeah.
that young people are being essentially pushed out of this market by what seems to be illegal immigrants. So I can understand the sentiment of, wanting people to be pushed out of the country. And before anyone calls me racist, I want everybody to think of their native lands where they come from. Would you want people without a passport coming into your country? I don't know a
Absolutely.
single person that would say yes.
First and foremost, it is about having the choice to get the people you want into your territory. That is a choice that every country should be having, period, regardless of their economic status. So whether it's well off like the UK or less so, such as Ukraine currently, let's say. However, that being said, one thing that I wanted to mention is I recently heard Nigel Farage saying something. I don't like the guy. Premise, I don't like the guy. However, he did say something that currently in the UK you must build a new house every 10 minutes or something like that because
Yep.
of how much how big the demand is. To
that's
that I have
mad.
only one question. Why do I keep seeing houses that are being left broken in disarray and slowly and steadily just rotting off? Why is this happening? Because I'm seeing houses, especially where I live, I don't know if you've seen, but just places that are being abandoned altogether.
Are
in
they
the
functional
cities.
houses, or can you see clear signs of damage?
I literally the roof fell into itself. So
Oh, but
yeah,
that's a hazard. Like from a
it is.
construction
But that's
perspective,
what I'm
that's a
saying.
hazard.
How did it get there? Why did it get there? Why was nobody living there to sort it out? Did somebody live there and intentionally let the roof rot over their head?
Who knows?
Possibly, but unlikely.
Anyways,
So that's
honestly, that like okay, new houses need to be built. I agree, and again, I feel
I can see
like
that point, yes, and I agree. Also, one other thing that I wanted to say. Sorry,
Yes?
just to stop you for 1 second. But wasn't the whole point of Brexit to give the UK more choice over the people that it lets in? What happened to that?
so much for that, right? So much
Exactly.
for
What
that.
happened to that?
So much for that. Yeah, because the thing is, I think I changed my perspectives on immigration. So I used to be on the idea that, like, you know, not allowing migrants to come in is, you know, like racist and everything in between. I changed my views. I don't think that's the case. I actually think that like a country such as the UK, and specifically its native people, should be allowed to decide what they do with their country. Like, I'm an immigrant, I should have no say, in my opinion. Like, this is
I agree. I
harsh,
agree.
but I don't think I should have a say. The same way that if someone comes to Romania as an immigrant, I don't think they should have a say in what happens with the future of the country. Hot take,
Exactly,
maybe, but I'll die on the
Honestly,
hill.
I understand and I agree having local elections about things that will impact you directly. However, big changes like referendums and such, I don't think immigrants that do not have the citizenship of that country should be relevant to that discussion. It's like, how can I say it? Why should I decide what another country which I'm just an immigrant in? It is not yet my place.
It's not
And
your place, yeah.
yes, like another thing is once you have the citizenship of the place, then I could understand the point. Like, okay, you declared publicly that okay, I either renounce my previous country or now I have double citizenship, and I believe that this new country is as much my place as the place where I was born. I can
agree.
understand that. I can see how that can be abused, but that's a whole different discussion. But what I think happened in the UK is that they were known for their colonial history, and because of that, there was this guilt associated with it. Okay, like we have to help other countries which we leached off, if that makes sense. Like we took the
I
resources.
guess
Now we
like
have to help them back.
fair, I suppose. But in the same vein, it's kind of a situation that, yes, I agree. You know, colonialism happening, etc., etc. But that was the
Yeah.
past. Let's move on from the past and like it's kind of the same thing as should Germany just hold reparations for the Jews and what happened in the 1940s? Like, should they really do that still? Just
It's
because
funny
you
how
know?
the US is still debating whether they should.
Oh, no, like personally, I don't think they should. This is something that, like, one man did, right?
Man,
Like
I
one
looked
man.
a little bit into the history of gypsies.
I do want
Yes.
to get into something more important,
Please do.
and that something more important is who's actually responsible for this. And much like I feel like we get into it every single time, I do think it's the failings of the government. I
Yes,
genuinely
yes,
think
that yes,
like
that yes, that yes.
above all, like, do you know what's realizing is people are being people are pretty much put to fight against each other, not realizing the people that have been playing you are actually the ones that are, you know, running the powers. Because
Yeah.
if they were able to control immigration like they said they would post Brexit, none of this shit would be happening, because you wouldn't have so many people. I think I've heard some crazy statistic that like last year 1 million illegal immigrants entered UK. If this shit wouldn't happen, like I don't think we would have the riots that we've been having for the past few weeks. I
Man,
don't think
and
so.
honestly, what I think hurts people the most is just watching the blatant hypocrisy that politicians come with.
Oh yeah.
There was a video going viral on Twitter, X, whatever, about a British politician. It was pretty much going from
BLM.
Yes, that was it. I think that was it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, and if I find the
that
video
one.
somewhere, I'm gonna put it. I think it's the one with Keir Starmer, who's the prime
I
minister,
think yes.
where
Yes.
he was like,
Yes,
he was reacting
yes.
to how the people were protesting for George Floyd, which I'm pretty sure
Yes,
they
that
were
one, that
very
one, that one, that
violent
one.
as well, were they not?
Exactly. Yes, they were.
Yeah, they were
A
violent,
lot of
right?
people were. They
And
broke
he
into
was, like,
shops, they were
being
stealing
very-
stuff. Again,
how
not
to put-
everyone, but still.
He was being very, how do I say it? He was being very compassionate towards the protesters that were
That's the word.
supporting
Well done.
George Floyd. But then, when he was reacting to the rioters from the far right, they were all of a sudden, so first off, they were calling them far right, they were calling them racist,
Yes.
and they said they were faced the full force of the law. You can't make this shit
Exactly.
up.
Yeah. Which that's what I think hurts people the most. And
When you
that's
don't get
why I
listened
think
to.
it spread like wildfire. Because
Bro, I think if this shit happened in Romania, I would lose my shit.
Man, if this shit happened in Romania, there would be...
We would be losing our
assassinations
like,
after assassinations, because with
Yeah.
Ceausescu will be happening all over again.
Yeah, I was about to, you know what, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, no smoke to the Brits, but if this shit happened in Romania, it would only be happening for a week. Why? Because after a week, someone would be, a
Yes.
politician would be full
And
stop.
man, what did you see the what happened in Romania? Like they were trying to call the army, and the army could do nothing because they would literally have to kill everybody in Bucharest because of the things that were
And,
happening.
and that
A
ain't
whole
happening.
plaza full, exactly.
Okay, coming back to this whole situation, it's
Yes.
really the failing of the government and being
absolutely
unable
is.
to control immigration. Now, personally, I don't actually think so. I know I've been talking about, like, you know, immigrants bad, etc., etc. I don't think immigration is necessarily bad, but when you have uncontrolled immigration, where you have
That's
a
the
million
issue.
people coming into
That
the
is the
country,
issue.
yeah, that's a bit mad.
So can I just say, the one thing that I was told time and time about when I came here in the UK is that the main reason why the UK is doing so well is because they are a melting pot of cultures where everyone comes together, joins, and is being assimilated by the British culture in a way that enriches it. How do you assimilate a culture if you do not take the time, energy, and effort to assimilate that culture, or rather that person, into the culture? Because
Right.
currently what's being happening is that you just shove people in, put them on the streets and hope for the best, which is not what was happening before. Before there were families that brought other people inside. They were telling them, listen, so this is how the stuff happens in the UK, this is how the system works. If you step the wrong way, you will get into trouble.
Makes sense.
Nowadays, they do not have this
Point of reference.
checkpoint. Point of reference, yes, they don't have this point of reference anymore. They don't have someone to welcome them and explain to them, listen, so this country is nice until you do the wrong things, and then things won't be so nice anymore.
Makes
Trust
sense.
me, these things are not worth it.
And I want to close it off like this.
Yeah.
The people that are on the far right and the people that are on the, you know, the counter protesters,
Yeah.
the interesting part is that they're fighting each other, but really they should be looking at who's been pulling the strings. And
agree.
really, I think the counter protesters should be pissed at the government because they are the reasons why the far right blew up. And on the flip side, the native British should be pissed at the government for basically treating them like second-class citizens. And in some scenarios, that was the case. Like, that is true. They were treated in certain scenarios as second-class citizens, and they were not being listened to. And if you think that you can be a government and not listen to your people, it's only gonna last for so long, because eventually they will take back what's theirs. And I think this is what's happening right now in the UK. British are taking back what's theirs, and to a certain extent,
They're trying to. I'm not sure if this is the way to do it, though. That's the problem.
Fair enough. Like, I am agreeing with the fact that they want to essentially take back what's theirs. It's just, you're not gonna do it through violence, and I don't
Yes.
really have the answer. But this ain't the way, because the only thing you're doing is you're
I would
you're
have
just
the answer.
increasing violence.
Treat
Go on.
everybody the same. It's just as easy. Treat everybody the same, whether they're
Yeah,
an
but
immigrant
you need to force the government to do that, and that's the point. How
Exactly,
do you make
that
them?
is
How
the
do you
problem,
make
yeah.
them move?
Yeah, because that's the thing. That's the thing. Nowadays, everybody is running after the social points. Oh, look how virtuous and righteous I am. I
Right.
help the minorities, but in doing so, it's good to help the minorities. Do not harm the majority while you do that, though. That's the problem.
You know what? There was this like ending in a song from Paraziti, and it came back. Trăim într-o lume cu multe minorități. Atât de multe minorități încât numărul lor e majoritar. Nu vreau să trăiesc într-o lume a celor mulți și fără drepturi. And that was pretty fucking fire. I'm gonna translate the whole shit, but yeah, that was pretty.
Yeah.
But my point is, I think the
it
Brits
must be a
need to
modern
find a
song
different
because
way.
I don't know anyone who would have said something like that like years ago.
I know, right? What I wanted to say is, the Brits, the native ones that actually, you know, want to be treated, they need to find a different way. I don't have the answer, but they need to find a different way to protest so that their voices can be heard. Because right now, these riots, they might seem like, you know, you're making noise, but it's not effective because you're not changing anything. There needs to be
what's
something
happening?
else.
You're blowing off the steam and then you'll be arrested for it.
Precisely. So by you being arrested, maybe things will change, and it could be changing.
No,
But
I don't think so. Man,
yeah.
what changed when the Scottish guy who made a joke with a pug, was it a pug? A dog? When he was arrested?
Fair enough. No, but what I'm saying is that, you know, in the past, people have been arrested and they've actually been able to make a change. Look at Nelson Mandela, look at Rosa Parks. Like, these people have had serious impacts, even though a lot of them have been jailed in the aftermath.
Yes, but when the movement continued whilst they were in jail. But if the movement stops...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And now, especially in the UK, I believe too many people are afraid of what the government will do to them. The police and
What
such.
I think... Okay, actually, I just got the answer, and it's actually much simpler than I realized. Organized protests that are not violent.
I know, right?
Crazy thing to think about, right? Because the whole thing that the media is feeding right now, and I see it everywhere, is that the far right is causing violent riots. No, do it in a peaceful manner and show your intentions clearly, and don't make it seem like you're targeting a specific minority. Make it so that you're just saying control immigration. That's it. I feel like if people would say that, the media would be less inclined to just call you far right, because at that point you're just saying control immigration. You're not saying anymore, you're not targeting a specific demographic, and that's I think the answer.